I've been banging on the cafe's WC door for 15 minutes now. Man, couldn't stay there for an hour. I was wearing a gorgeous cutout dress and this fool hesitated and went to the toilet as soon as he saw me. Well, you're not a hottie either, you know. Stooped boy with greasy hair. The waiter came up to me and said that there was no one in the toilet. Dave ran away. In the evening, I returned home completely broken. I don't know what I did wrong. I looked at myself in the mirror. My friends at school said I was lucky to be cheesy and to have a nice face, as the guys are crazy about it. But that dude ran away as soon as he saw me. Maybe I'm just too much for him. This thought calmed me down a little, but I had to find the guy. As there was only a week and a half left to the prom, and I still don't know who I was going there with. There wasn't much time left, and I decided to change the profile photo on the dating site, especially since I hadn't changed my clothes after a failed date yet. But as soon as I chose the angle and arched in front of the camera, my mother came into the room. She had always been strict, but now she looked at me and went mad. She said that I was dressed vulgarly and that I disgraced the family by posting such photos. She took a sweater out of the closet and told me to change immediately. Okay, Mom, just stop yelling like that. She closed the door behind her, and at that moment, I received a text message. Some guy was asking me out. In the photos, he seemed confident. Certainly better than that loser who ran away from me. Maybe I still have a chance to find a date for the prom. I woke up very early to have time to choose a nice look and do my makeup. But it turns out that my closet was completely empty. Did Mom decide to throw all my clothes away? I was furious. And I decided that as soon as she returned from work, I would tell her everything. It was only an hour before the date. I was ashamed, but I couldn't go naked. I had to put on that granny sweater. On the way, it seemed to me that everyone was looking around and laughing at me. But surprisingly, Joe liked the sweater. He said I looked like a true lady in that outfit. Thanks for your tact, Joe. The date was going fine, but we were sitting by the fireplace and I was sweating from the heat. Finally, I decided to take off that sweater and stayed in one thin t-shirt. Joe immediately quieted down and stared at me. I didn't understand what happened. But suddenly he said that he had to go. Like he allegedly had some urgent problems with the water pressure at home. At home, I tried to convince myself that I got myself unstayed in vain. Maybe Joe really had something serious going on. But when I decided to call him and check how things were going, it turned out that Joe blocked me. I lay in my room and thought what those guys didn't like about me that much. And suddenly, I heard a beep. And it was a new message. Maybe one of my dates decided to apologize for running away? But no. It was another guy from a dating site. His name was Tom. I wasn't sure I wanted to go on a failed date again. But Tom looked so handsome, tall and athletic. And as it turned out, he was fond of natural sciences. I know you can't tell by my looks, but I love biology and want to go to medical school, in which Tom is just studying. Wow. I wanted to learn more about college and the upcoming exams, so I finally agreed to meet Tom at the coffee shop. The day before the date, I prepared my best outfit. Fortunately, my mom didn't throw away my things, but just washed them. I was so worried that I even came to the cafe ahead of time. And then I saw Joe at the next table, the one who blocked me. He sat with a girl and sweetly chatted with her. Oh, you! I went up to him and started yelling. How could you do this to me? Joe blushed and said I'd lied to him. He likes girls with small chests, and I have a big one. And I had a different photo on the dating site. What the heck is he talking about? He took out his phone and showed me. The ABC of Loyalty website. There was a picture of me, but I had small boobs. And I looked completely different in a long dress and a headscarf. Someone registered me there and photoshopped my photos. Joe said if I had smaller breasts and less provocative manners, he would have stayed. What an idiot! I turned and ran to the bathroom. I didn't know who registered me on that website. But now it was clear why the guys were running away. All because of my big breasts. I looked out at the bathroom and Tom was already sitting at the table, and then I realized that most likely he found me on the same website, which means I'm definitely not going to live up to his expectations. Crouching, I made my way to the exit. He didn't seem to notice me. On the way, I wrote to him that I was not feeling well and would not come. I came home in a terrible mood. Mother came into my room to ask me something, and I just burst into tears and told her everything. I don't usually have much of a heart-to-heart conversation with her, but I felt so bad. I said that I liked Tom and I was afraid to go to a meeting with him because of my breasts. My mother hugged me and began to calm me down. She said I shouldn't show my breasts, and she was right. I decided that I would do everything to make my breasts seem smaller because Tom likes this. I immediately texted him that I was ready to see him. The next day, I wrapped my chest in bandages and went on a date with Tom. I even put on that stupid sweater so Tom wouldn't notice. The date was great, but I was always afraid that Tom would find out about the bandages. And when he tried to hug me, I immediately pulled away. Tom pretended not to notice. But at the end of the date, when Tom walked me home, he told me I was great and that he was looking forward to seeing me again. I spent the whole evening thinking about Tom. Does he really like me? I shared it with my mom. Maybe he doesn't care about breast size, and I can take off the bandages. But my mother began to say that I looked depraved with big breasts, and as soon as he sees it, he would immediately run away. I was shocked by my mother's words, but I was afraid of losing Tom. What if Mom was right? On the second date, Tom said he wanted me to meet his friends. Wow. It's so cool. The main thing is that no one knows what I'm hiding. At the party, it always seemed to me that I did not tighten the bandages on my chest well. I ran to the bathroom every 5 minutes to fix the bandages that were coming out from under my crop top. Once again, when I was rewinding my breasts in the toilet, a girl noticed me. Heck, that's all I needed. But I quickly lied that I had recently been in an accident. The girl made a sympathetic face and left. She seemed to believe me. I was just calming down when one of the guys offered to play strip cards. Not again. I lasted a few rounds, but I still lost. I had to take off the tunic and stay only in the top. I began to refuse, saying that I was embarrassed, but my friends only made fun of me. One girl reached for my clothes. Now everyone will see the bandages. I couldn't stand it and ran away. I heard Tom calling for me, but I didn't stop. All I could think about was that I'd shame him in front of his friends, and all because of my chest again. I came home and burst into tears. My relationship with the only guy I ever liked is ruined. I had no prom date. Well, at least I could take off the bandages. The skin under them was all bruised. I noticed my mother's tablet on the table in the living room. There was an opened app with that bloody ABC of loyalty dating website. Out of curiosity, I opened a personal profile, and it was my profile. And on the tab below, there was a photoshopped photo of me. So it was my mother who registered me? The doorbell rang. I didn't want to open it. I had to deal with my mother. The guest called without stopping. Who the heck is there? There was Tom staying in the doorway with a huge bouquet of roses. Came to see if I was alright. I interrupted him and told him that wouldn't work out. Guess I actually have big breasts, and I dress differently. And in general, I'm a completely different person, not the girl from the profile picture. But Tom didn't understand what my breasts and clothing style had to do with it. And then he took my hand and told me that he didn't care about the photos. He cared about me the way I was, and it wasn't about the size of my breasts or my style of clothing. He was fine with me. I looked at Tom and didn't believe what was happening. And at that moment, my mother came out to us. She heard their conversation and lowered her eyes. She admitted that it was she who posted the photos on the ABC of Loyalty website 6 months ago, and she added that in her youth, guys were only interested in her body and no one was interested in what kind of person she was. Thanks, Mom. I knew you meant well, but now I'll do everything on my own. I took Tom's hand and we left. By the way, as you can imagine, I didn't go to prom alone.